One of the problems with recruiting for investment banking is not the knowledge or skills you acquire, but the access to talk with real investment bankers to put your best foot forward. Our sponsor, WSO Academy, can provide those connections with 60 head mentors who are finance professionals at top firms like Goldman, Centerview, and JP Morgan. Imagine being able to get on the phone within 24 hours with one of the Academy's 1,300 mentors right before a critical interview. Get on the waitlist for WSO Academy today by clicking the link in the show notes or by visiting wallstreetoasis.com/academy. All right. Welcome to Investment Banking Insights. This is the only show dedicated to helping you learn both the technical and non-technical aspects of investment banking. My name is Alex Mason and I am your host. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going through these technicals one by one and just learning so much along the process. Episode 191. We're really cranking through, getting close to 200 here. I'm getting excited. Yeah, I feel like when a podcast reaches 200 episodes, you kind of start getting to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, just really excited that you're here. We're talking about enterprise and equity value, a couple of more advanced concepts here in this section. And today's question is this: when calculating enterprise value, should you use book value or should you use market value? Book value or market value? That is the question. And I find this question really interesting because I think it gets to the heart of what should be considered the true quote unquote value from an investment banking context. Because remember, when we're talking about enterprise value, why do we even talk about enterprise value as opposed to necessarily equity value or some other metric? Well, it's because enterprise value represents the claims that all investors have to the firm, the equity holders, the debt holders, everyone related to the capital structure of this business has a stake in this enterprise value. So it's a more complete picture than, say, equity value is. So when we're looking at the different components here, what kind of value should we use for each component? I mean, we've gone through a lot of these components already. We've talked about leases. We've talked about equity value. We've talked about cash. We've talked about debt. But what should we do? Do we use the value on the books or do we use the value that the market places on that item? And here's the thing. It's a nuanced answer because it depends. The equity value piece of the enterprise value equation can be the market value. That's what we can use the market value for, is for equity value. And the reason is we simply have the information available to us in order to get this number accurately. Recall that the equity value is equivalent to the share price multiplied by the number of outstanding shares. We covered this way back in the beginning. The share price multiplied by the number of outstanding shares, that gets you your equity value, also known as your market capitalization. And that, by definition, is market value. So it makes sense that here we would use the market value for equity value. But what about the other components of enterprise value? I mean, theoretically, there is a market value for all of the other components of the enterprise value formula, but it would be too impractical to find them. Like, for example, what is the market value of a finance lease? I mean, we know what the value is on the books, but if you were to go out and value that lease in the market today versus tomorrow versus the next week, we don't really know. Or what's the value market-wise of a non-controlling interest in a company? Like, I don't know. So in this case, use the book value for all of those items that are recorded on the balance sheet. So book value for most components of enterprise value calculation, but you can use the market value for the equity value component because, I mean, it's easy to calculate accurately. Remember, we're going for accuracy here because we want to come up with a good enterprise value for the company, which can inform our buy side or our sell side process or whatever we're doing as an investment banker. We want to have that number or that range rather for enterprise value be pretty accurate. So that's what I would say. Use the market value for your equity value, and for everything else, consider using the book value. And for example, like if you were looking at the value of unfunded pension liabilities, I mean that might have a value on the balance sheet, but again, how do we define the market value of that? So that's all I'll say about that. Just a little nuance there when looking at enterprise value, something to think about. That's what I got for you today here on Investment Banking Insights. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate the messages. I appreciate the LinkedIn connects, all that fun stuff. And I hope you have an incredible day. And I wish you the best on your recruiting journey. I'll see you next time.